Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Tech Motoring. On today's episode, we're going to be putting together a little bit of a solar array with battery backup and connecting this inverter to it. And we're going to be putting this all together today just because this is just a project that I've wanted to do for a while. Obviously, for those of you who follow the channel, you know that I have solar up on my roof. And so what we're going to be doing today is just kind of putting that into a smaller package, a smaller theory of, what we already have on our house. We have solar on our roof, we have Tesla power walls, and we obviously use that to offset the electricity costs in our house and charge our cars and so on and so forth. And so what I wanted to do is put together something on a smaller scale by myself and kind of see what we can come up with. So let's dive in, let's check it out. I'll show you what we're doing here today, and let's just see if it works. I have no idea. All right, everybody, welcome back. So like I was saying, this is just a small project that I've wanted to do for many, many years now, actually, is just put together my own solar array with a battery storage and just connect AC power to it. Just have an AC inverter so I can run, whatever off of it. Nothing huge, nothing that's going to like charge an EV, let's say, but just something where I can, charge a laptop or something silly. And I just wanted to have experience in knowing how to do this stuff. And so really, this is just going to be kind of a crash course. I don't want to necessarily have you think that this is like a how-to guide of how to do this, because there's going to be things that I'm going to miss. There's going to be things that I'm going to have to do later on after the video that I'm going to have to adjust and do better. And so this is just really kind of a base guide of, in theory, does this work? How well does it work? And, what does it cost, really? And honestly, all this stuff that you see here, we have our DOKIO solar panel I picked up on Amazon. This was like less than $100. It even comes with the charge controller there, the solar controller, which is really cool. And that's like a 110 watt solar panel. It comes with some miscellaneous cables and adapters if you want to charge like one of those solar battery, one of those, I don't want to call them a generator, but it's the battery packs that you can buy, the ones with the screens on it and the plugs already built in. It's basically like an all-in-one system, and then you could just hook up a solar panel to it. So it gives you the adapters to charge most of those. I have these Duracell batteries that have had laying around for quite a few years now, so we're going to be using these as our battery storage, and these are AGM batteries. They're 12 volt, 18 amp hours a piece, so we're going to be using these to power or charge the batteries off of solar, and then those will be powering the AC power, the inverter, once it's no longer being powered by solar. We just got some miscellaneous cables that I've purchased, and this here is a 1200 watt maximum inverter. I'm never going to use the maximum of this inverter, or at least not right away, just because I have no use for it. This is once again just in theory, or in practice in this case, of what we can do with this stuff. And so we have this really nice inverter that I'm not even going to take fully advantage of. In fact, this is actually, the brand is G&Del. It's an inverter with a solar charge controller. So technically, I don't even need that charge controller. I could just use that, but I do want to use that one because it has a screen on it. You can kind of customize it a little bit, and I'm curious to see what it shows on the screen. Once again, this is a learning activity for me. I want to learn more about this stuff. I want to learn how it works, and so this is just going to be kind of a put together in practice, see what we get out of it, and kind of go from there. And so we're going to be hooking this up today in a very minimal fashion just to see if we can get power through it. Can we charge the batteries off of solar? That's kind of what we're looking at. And if you're interested in any of this stuff, I'll put links down in the description below so you can take a look at it. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do, before we fold out the solar panel and get all that stuff going, what we're going to do is get these batteries hooked up with some cables that we have here. I'm just using cables that have these XT connectors on it because that's the easiest way to plug into the charge controller over there. As you can see, they just use those XT connectors to plug in. So that was the easiest thing for me to do there. So we're going to get these two batteries. These are two 12 volt batteries. That is a 12 volt charge controller. So we're going to make sure we put these batteries in parallel, not series, because we don't want to put 24 volts through the controller because we'll blow the controller. So we'll put these two batteries in parallel. We will get those wires hooked up properly. I even have cables specifically to wire this in parallel. Actually, this is what this cable is right here. So you can see that we have a cable that plugs directly into the battery port of the controller, and it has the wires already set to be in parallel. So all I got to do is plug the two batteries into these two plugs, and it will take both batteries at 12 volts. And that's all easily done by just, buying these little adapter wires. It's pretty simple. So yeah, just a kind of quick rundown. You can see we have the solar here. So this will plug into our solar panel directly. That goes into the charge controller. Batteries will come out through here, and then our load will be here. So our inverter will plug into here. We just got some cables for that as well. And once I get this all hooked up, I'll go ahead and show you a little bit more closely how we have everything hooked up, and then we're going to test it and see if anything blows up, because that will make for better YouTube. All right, let's jump into it. All right, so really cool. I plugged in our solar controller here, our charge controller, and as you can see, the screen is currently off. But if I open up the solar panel, you can see that it starts to turn on now. So now it shows our load of how much we're producing here. So you can see we have about 17 volts. This is an 18 volt maximum solar panel. So 110 watts, 18 volts, which is good because that'll give the batteries nice juice. And then, yeah, so as you can see now, it's about 15 volts. We're looking at a little bit of overcast right now, so we're not going to be producing as much. But yeah, really, really cool. And actually, this does have some USB on the end here. So I wonder if we can actually just plug in a phone. Actually, let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let me plug in a phone. All right, so really quickly, we're just going to go ahead and here we go. And yep, and we're already charging. So we can already charge our phones just having the solar panel out and open, even on a cloudy day, and we are charging our phone. All right, so just a quick check-in. So we have the terminals all set up on the battery. So obviously black cable to black, red cable to red, red to positive, black to negative, obviously. So we have our cables that are going to get plugged into that right there for the two batteries. We have our inverter set up as well. Same principles apply there, of course. So that's going to be plugged into that part of the solar controller. These batteries will be plugged into there, and then we should start seeing something. And then I might have to do some configuring on the controller itself, because I think there's some instructions here of how to set it up for specific types of batteries and whatnot. So we're going to go through that menu and see what we need to set up as well. And as you can see, we plugged in our batteries. It shows that we are getting 12.5 volts at the battery level there. So that's looking good. And I believe we could start cutting through our menu here. Yeah, this is what we need to see here. So yeah, you could turn off your load if you wanted to. So if you don't want to use this load, I guess that's what the on and off is. So I could say turn on, so battery to load. And if I turn it off, you see the battery does not go to load anymore. I guess that's if you don't want to put anything towards the load side. You can actually just use like the USB on the side. I'm assuming that's what it's for. I have to read the instructions a little bit better. We can go here, and it shows our PV, which is 0 because we don't have the panel opened right now. We have our load, which is 0 because we don't have anything plugged in right now. So yeah, so really cool things. We have to get into the menu system. All right, so we went through the controller menu a little bit. As you can see, there's quite a few different menus in there that you can set up for everything. And the default was actually pretty straightforward. I think the biggest thing is making sure you set up your battery type, because obviously you have your gel batteries, you have your flood batteries, you have your lithium batteries if you have like a lithium battery bank. So you want to make sure you get that stuff set up. That's extremely important. And of course, you know, all the other stuff kind of falls in line with it. But for the most part, as far as I was concerned, everything seems to be blown away by the wind. Everything seems to be pretty good. There's also a way that you can set up your time, so you can set up where it doesn't use the load during, you know, like overnight hours, I guess. So kind of interesting. So now what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the inverter, and we're going to plug that into our solar controller, and we're going to see if we could charge something, a device or whatever, off of the inverter without using the solar yet, and just to see how that works, see if these batteries hold up okay, and we can keep an eye on that on the controller here. So let's go ahead and plug that in and see what happens. All right, so we do have it plugged in now. We can see that we have a load of 0 amps, and that's because this is not on yet. So let's see if we turn this on. I think that's all you do. All right, I heard a beep. Sorry, just realizing the lighting is awful here. All right, looks like now if we go to the controller, we have a 0.8 amp load. So right now it looks like we have a power light that is on, as you can see right there. So it is starting to pull into here. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna go grab like a small laptop and we can plug it in and see if we get some sort of indication that there's life here. All right, so I've gone ahead, I've plugged in this laptop brick here to our inverter. It's still showing about 0.8 amps. So what we're gonna do here is just take this, plug it into the laptop. It's on the other side, hold on. And as we can see here, it is an orange light. It might be really, really hard to see right now, but there is an orange light on the laptop indicating that it is charging at this point. In fact, let's just turn it on as well. Okay, and as we can see, we are powered up and it does show the charging indicator on the laptop. So we are plugged in and charging. So once again, laptop plugged into the inverter, inverter plugged into the controller. We can see we are pulling about 4 amps now. Now this is coming directly from the batteries. We don't have the solar panel open yet. And as we can see here, we can go into this and you see how PV is 0. So we are not producing any solar at the moment. Now let's open this up. Finally got some sun this morning, really nice. And as you can see, we are now producing about 2 amps. So now that is going towards the load that we have on the circuit. So this is all now being one cohesive family here. And yeah, so that is working pretty well so far. So let's see here. Let's go through the menus a little bit more so we can see we have, I guess that's temperature? I wonder how it does that. Battery 12.3 volts, and our PV is about 12.5 volts, and our load is 4.3 and 1.9 amps. Let's get this out in the sun a little bit more. There we go. See, now we're starting to really pull in those amps now. 3.2 amps, 3.3 amps. And solar panels obviously do work best when the entire panel is covered with sun. That's the best way to do it. If you have like a corner of your panel, you know, in shade, then you can have a real detrimental effect on the total capacity that the panel can produce. So this is actually really cool to see that we're pretty much fully in the sun now, like so. Producing just over 3 amps. All right, so we've had this running for about 10 minutes now or so, and we got the panel out in the sun. Batteries are plugged in. It's now pulling more than what the solar panel can offer. So the batteries are actually being drained into this array here. So we are now up to like 62% on the laptop there. And so the battery is charging on the laptop, and right now we're still pulling about 4.2, 4.3 amps. Now, once the battery in the laptop is charged, I imagine that that is going to go down. So I'm curious to see what happens here. So I'm going to leave this sitting out here for probably a couple hours at least, just to see what it does and kind of go from there. I think this is just really cool. This is just a fun project to do, even if you have like kids or something like that and they want to learn more about renewable energy and stuff like that. Like, this is a really cool project to do, right? It took me no more than 30 minutes to put this all together, and that's with videoing the process. And here we are. We're now producing electricity from the sun, and we're charging something useful, practical with it. Your laptop, your tablet, your phone, whatever you need, just as long as it's within the realm of what your power production is. And even if you don't make enough power from solar, you can store what you can when you can, and then use that to power something that's more than what your solar can produce. And that's what we're showing here, is that even though we can't produce enough off of this one panel to charge this laptop, we can store excess solar into our battery system and then charge the laptop from it, because we can produce more from stored energy. And so this is what we do at our house. This is what we do every single day. We have solar up on our roof that stores in our Tesla Powerwalls if we're not using the solar in real time. And then when we need the extra energy, we have it stored for us. And then we can use that throughout the day or throughout the night, depending on what we need to charge our electric vehicles here or just to run household appliances. And so this is just a really cool in practice idea here. I always wanted to do this, and now with everything being, you know, pretty reasonably priced in the market for solar, like this solar panel with the controller was less than $100. This inverter was probably about $85, something like that. The batteries I had laying around, but you could probably pick up batteries for like $40. I mean, really, all of this, not including laptop, you know, you're looking about $200, maybe $250. And you can have a cool setup like this. And once again, this is not necessarily going to offset your electricity by, you know, $200 a month or anything like that. But it's really cool to have this setup, learn about it, understand how it works, and then you can utilize it for other things. Like, so for instance, this solar panel is very mobile, is very useful. I can bring that solar panel, bring that charge controller with me. I can go out and have a picnic somewhere, and I could charge my phones. I could run a speaker off of it. I could do some basic things with it. And if I wanted to, I could bring that solar panel home and I can run an entire system like this. Very simple, very easy to plug and play. As you can see, we just had to order some extra cables for it. And just really, really cool. So anyway, we're going to let this sit out in the sun for a couple hours because I want to see how everything holds up. Obviously, we're going to try to keep this stuff in the shade as much as possible. The solar panel itself can stay out in the sun. And yeah, we'll just kind of see how things hold up. I'm checking wires for heat, making sure that, you know, wires are not getting hot, which they don't appear to be at all. And yeah, we'll just kind of check back in on this in a little bit. All right, so we have been running this for well over an hour now. Batteries are still going strong. Laptop is still on and running. The battery is now completely full in the laptop. We are charging at 4.2. We even saw as high as 4.3 amps a minute ago. So we're around 4 amps of charging. And we can move down to our load, which is currently only 1.8 amps. So now we are the opposite of what we were before. We are now producing more than what we are using. So we are actually probably charging up these batteries now, and whatever, well, I should say, we are now powering the laptop, and whatever is left is going to the batteries over here, which is really cool to see. Now, this inverter has been running pretty well because these fans have not even been kicking on. So obviously this is way below the limit of, you know, obviously what its capability is. And very obviously, because it's a 1200 watt inverter and we're only pulling just a fraction of that right now. So yeah, looking pretty cool. I'm going to keep this running for a couple more hours just to see how it is. I've checked all the cables. Cables all seem pretty fine. They're all pretty cool. Once again, we're not really maxing anything out by running the laptop off of this. And yeah, so this is really cool. I love it. And I love to see that we're actually producing quite a bit of power with the solar panel. Let's take a look again. 4.2, 4.3 amps. Looking really good. Okay, everybody, well, you join me back now a little bit in the future to show you kind of a semi-finished product, if you will. So I just put together this little wood box here, mounted a small box inside of here with the batteries inside of there. I put this fireproof cover on just to be extra safe about everything. Mounted our solar controller right there inside the box, and then of course we have our inverter right here mounted to the outside, which looks pretty good. Obviously we have our solar panel hooked up through the cable that's running out into our yard. Obviously we don't have too much sun right now, unfortunately, but as you can see from the solar controller, let's see if we can actually get some numbers off of it. It looks like we are producing about 2 amps coming through that solar panel right now, and that is powering this inverter, which we can obviously plug in any 120 volt item into this that we want, which is pretty cool. And then right now I have a little small PC actually running off of that, doing some, you know, crypto mining while we're doing nothing else with it. So kind of a free energy thing. Obviously you have some upfront costs, so there's no, you know, hiding that, but obviously once you get this all set up, if you have a proper application for setting up something, whether you're remote or you just go out some places like a campsite or something, you could throw together something kind of, you know, rudimentary, kind of like this, and bring your battery and solar panel thing with you, and you get to learn along the way, of course, because this is a really interesting thing that I was able to kind of do pretty quickly, just kind of throw together and see how it was going to work, and try to understand more about how, you know, solar works with inverters and how that produces, you know, DC power into AC power, charging a battery system off of that at the same time. Very, very interesting stuff, and I'm really happy that I got to do that. There you go, everybody. Well, there is my solar battery backup with AC power availability here for whatever I want to do with it. Something that I've always wanted to do for a while is just kind of build one of these solar panel battery storage systems. So this was a really cool kind of small scale version of what I'm hoping to do in the future with something bigger, like a shed, where I can have a couple of larger solar panels on the shed, run that into the shed, and power that just strictly off of the sun, which is something I have a lot of interest in. And of course, if you're interested in solar panels for your home, or even battery backup for your home, take a look at some of the channels that I'm going to throw up here at the end of this video. You'll be able to see my home solution for solar, and of course my home battery solution with 2 Tesla Powerwalls, which is something that I absolutely love. Being able to go off the grid for most of the day is fantastic. So I really love that technology, and I love doing my own little projects like this. This is just something I have a real huge passion for. And of course, if you're interested in doing something like this, I'll put some links down in the description below of this stuff that I purchased off of Amazon, and you can do it yourself. Like I said, it's not very difficult. It's really just plug, 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 and you could build yourself your own really cool system that you can use for plugging in any of your household essentials into it, for the most part. So thought that was really cool. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and of course check us out on all of our other social media sites as well, and check out all our other videos along the way. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Remember, welcome to the future. Welcome to Tech Motoring. We'll see you soon.